Good evening, Dandies. Welcome to Undetermined, the podcast.
Here we are.
Evening, fellas.
Howdy do, you guys.
We
Doing
do.
pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Who are we talking to tonight? You want to introduce yourselves, or you want us to do it, or?
I'm Shane 13 of They Watch Us from the Moon.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you want all my credentials or not, but that's probably the most important one for
Every
me.
one of them.
Yes.
Roll them out.
Your papers.
I don't think I have a rock and roll resume. I have a reputation, so to speak.
Oh, there you go. Who else is with us?
This is Ben White from also from They Watch Us from the Moon and Godzillionaire and Vedettes. Good to be talking with you guys again.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, me too. Yeah, I haven't heard from you in a minute.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Yeah, some things happened last week.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
That's weird.
Just didn't get out much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been listening to this the project you guys have been working on. It's incredible stuff. I like it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Kind of doomy, kind of spacey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig it.
We call it Doom Opera.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a good description.
Doom sci-fi opera.
Matt and I were talking about that a little bit, green rooming. Just that,
Yeah.
very operatic.
Yeah,
And I dig that.
that's the idea. Very theatrical. That's kind of where we're shooting at, is to move it in more of a theatrical mode.
Do you find that something? I mean, who were we talking to? Jesse Hunt about that, I think. You think that's something that's lacking today, or is it just something that you just wanted to do?
Both.
Yeah.
This band, for me, I'm doing all the stuff that everybody shot down over the last 25 years or so. Like, hey
Yeah.
guys, let's do so-and-so. No. So this band is like, I can smile on stage and stuff. I used to be in bands that, really aggressive
Mhm.
metal bands, and, you don't no smiling on stage. Be serious.
No smiling.
This is not going to look good on my angry metal guy resume.
Right.
Like, I'm going to lose.
Exactly. So this band, for me anyway, is like the expression of all the stuff that I got shot down for over the last 20 some years in other bands.
Well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's pretty silly.
Mhm.
If you think about it, we're all graybeards dressing up like space commandos and playing doom metal
Right.
with two hot chick singers that have more talent in their little finger than I've got in my entire repertoire. So
Right. Yeah, I just don't see how anybody can take themselves that seriously.
you'd be surprised, man.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
We were just talking about this. We've got some old friends that everybody in the band knows these guys, and we know them because, well, Ben and I used to play in a band a billion years ago called Truth Cell.
Okay.
And Truth Cell had some legs, man. We did a lot of stuff and played to big crowds, and we were kind of set in that metalcore, hardcore scene pretty thick.
Right.
And when some of our old cohorts got a hold of the idea of what I'm doing now, they're upset. They're mad.
Silly.
It's ridiculously silly, but it's like, well, guys, if you don't understand the joke's probably on you, and we're just going to move on without you.
Yeah.
Word's going around Ottawa, Kansas, that Shane Murray started having fun in a band. And,
Oh, shit.
We're going upset.
Oh, no.
Smiling on stage. What the fuck?
Yes, we see that you smiled 3 times in your last performance.
It's weird, but I mean, I don't know. I'm done with angry metal. I'm not, the doom scene is kind of where old punks and Hessians go to die. It's just not as
Right.
It's heavy. It's not aggressive. And
I mean, there are a lot of good bands doing good stuff.
Oh, for sure.
There's just so much, just kind of like,
Yeah.
like where did this come from? What was the impetus of doing this? Why?
Yeah.
It's necessary.
Right.
It's just kind of stock Sabbath riffs and things like that. There are a lot of people doing really inventive stuff, and then a whole lot of people just kind of, treading water.
Right.
I hope we stick to the inventive side.
But I think it's it's just like the whole point of what you're saying earlier. I thought, to me, and I'm a huge metalhead, I love metal, but I've always thought that there's been sort of a tongue-in-cheek joke there.
Oh, yeah.
Spooky monsters and skeletons and shit like that. It's like, how can you really take it too seriously? I mean, there's an aesthetic,
Right.
I think that goes along with it. But if people don't know that you're having fun, like writing a comic book or, writing a song or doing a painting or whatever, to me, that really sucks a lot of joy out of it.
Yeah.
You can't laugh at yourself.
Yeah. I mean, I think what we're doing is, we all take it very seriously as far as like the art of the thing.
Right.
We take it seriously, and we want to present like really the intent of the content is out of the love of science fiction.
Right.
And all things pertaining to that make it fun,
Mm-hmm.
I saw Star Wars in 1977 as a 6-year-old kid or whatever, and that kind of excitement has never stopped for me. And this art project, I don't really consider it a band as much as I do an art project, because it incorporates so many different things that we're all interested in: science fiction and metal and face melting solos and psychedelica and
Right. If I remember right, Ben's a Star Trek guy, though. How's that working?
We don't talk about it. I like Star Trek too. I do. I'm not one of those divisive Trekkie Star Wars types. I love Star Wars just as much as I love Star Trek, just as much as I love
Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar Galactica. Yeah. Oh my god.
Ooh, yeah. That reboot was really good with Battlestar.
Well, I've seen that whole series like 10 times. Love it.
Yeah, I have not caught it. I'm more of a horror guy.
Oh, dude. I talk to a lot of horror people a lot because, sci-fi and horror these days kind of go hand in hand. But
Yeah.
this is what I always top off to the horror guys is, do you think there's anything more terrifying than aliens fucking with you and you can do nothing about it?
Yeah.
That's way more scary than
Like alien abduction and
monsters.
yeah.
And,
Those
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's the ultimate horror.
I saw the film pop up the other day and watched it, and the film doesn't do it justice, but I read that book by Whitley Strieber, A Communion,
Yeah.
years ago. That scared the shit out of me, man.
Yeah.
Oh, for many years.
Oh yeah, I think I saw the movie when I was 13, and that was yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just terrifying. And that's what it is. Yeah, that helplessness.
Years ago, when he and I were in Truth Cell, he turned me on to a book called Above Black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And the book was about, there's black operations, and then there's dark operations, and then there's above black operations, which are like so super secret that they're not even classified as black operations, right?
Right.
And this book was about this Air Force guy. He didn't know what he was doing at the time. It took him a few years to figure it out. And basically what he realized was he was communicating longitude and latitude coordinations for aliens.
Huh.
Like as part of a job, like
As part of a job
Oh.
with the Air Force.
Oh, I see.
And the most terrifying thing in the whole book was the aliens, as you come to find out, I won't give away the whole thing, but the most terrifying part of it for me was the aliens did not refer to human beings as people or humans or animals or nothing like that. They referred to us as water vessels.
Nice.
Huh.
That's terrifying. Jesus Christ.
Now, if your planet has no water and you need to move an ocean,
Yeah.
do you
Right.
look at the ocean ounce by ounce, or do you figure out a way to move an ocean on legs and have it move on and off ships by itself before you melt them
a
down?
lot
Oh,
easier.
damn.
Yeah. Just squish us out. Bring us out like
And you
rags.
think monsters and the devil are more scary than that shit? No fucking way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hard thing. It's kind of funny. I was watching what were we watching? Some movie with my youngest the other day, and it was about demon possession or something. And we've got a secular home now. I grew up in a really religious family,
Right.
Me too.
but she was just like, I don't find this scary at all. It's like, yeah, you probably won't if you don't really, believe in the devil.
Right.
It seems silly at that point. But yeah, that's the thing that's always fucked with me about aliens. You know, they could come and go.
They're more plausible.
Yeah, much more so than like a Bigfoot or something.
I was raised a PK, preacher's kid.
So was I.
Awesome.
So if you're a PK, right, you're a preacher's kid, what's the first chapter of Ezekiel say?
Oh, I didn't pay that much attention.
Anybody out there wants to crack open the Bible, you can easily read the first chapter of Ezekiel, and it is the exact definition of an alien abduction.
Huh.
Spaceships, lights, the whole schmear.
I'll have to check that out.
What wheels of eyes?
Wheels of eyes within
Oh,
wheels.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Moving to and fro the firmament.
Mm-hmm.
Where the wheels went, the creatures went. I mean, it's just all, I mean, it's every word of it is somebody describing a spaceship landing and taking people into it without having any concept that there are aliens.
So it must be angels.
There must be angels.
Right.
Every major religious text across the planet from all time has almost the exact same type of stories. The Indian Vedic texts have stories about, they're called vimanas, which are spaceships that have battles in the skies over different countries. The Vedic texts are more like historical documents than religious manifests.
I mean, what they describe it as like airships that were piloted by the gods, right?
Right.
Isn't that the
Yeah. Airships piloted by the gods. I mean, did they just make it up? No.
No.
And, you know, the Maya and the Inca and the Olmecs and all that, same kind of stories.
Yeah.
Exact.
Yeah. So what's your take on the Navy's newest revelations for us that they don't know what the fuck is going on up there? They're sighting ships left and right, or at least, what are they calling them now? UAPs, identified aerial phenomenon.
I'll tell you what I think about that. Are you familiar with who Werner von Braun was?
Oh,
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so for your listeners who might not know, who was Werner von Braun?
Werner von Braun was the guy who did the report, right?
He started NASA.
Started NASA, but he did the report.
Operation Paperclip.
Yeah, Operation Paperclip.
He was a Nazi. The American government, quote unquote, rescued him out of Germany.
Yeah, they did a lot of that rescuing.
Yeah, for a lot of scientists, they did.
Yeah.
He was the guy that gave Hitler the rocket.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. When he got over to America after World War II, he helped establish the space program. And on his deathbed, there were 4 people in the room as he was dying. And the last thing he said, he revealed to the 4 people in the room that only weeks beforehand, a delegation from the government had come to him with a plan, a false flag operation that would take place some point in time in the future that would involve a fake alien invasion that would cause the entire planet to become under one world government.
Right. And that's how they were going to establish order. Yeah.
It's really creepy.
It's like back to like the 1984 thing about always needing to have like an imaginary and invisible enemy and things like that. He basically made a point that, you know, at first it's going to be it's been the communists for a while. Next thing you know, it's going to be like, you know, not any groups associated with the government, but like, you know, terrorist groups are going to be like the new enemy, and religious groups, things like that. And then I said, the final card is when they basically say there's been an invasion from outer space. So it's pretty crazy stuff.
Ronald Reagan even touched on it in a UN speech during his presidency, that something to the effect of, if you can imagine what would happen if the world was invaded by some unknown entity and the entire world would have to come together in brotherhood and community and defeat it.
Right.
And, man, they're setting the stage for that shit. They've been setting it for a long time.
I think, and that's to a certain degree, I entertain that too. I don't, 100% believe any of it, but as soon as the Navy comes out and starts actually admitting what they know about UFOs, it makes me think something else has happened or something else is about to happen, because there's no reason for them to start releasing any of this. I mean, they've got way bigger shit that's behind the curtain now.
Yeah.
Well, I've been saying for a long time that just like look at what's happened in the last couple of years, all this stuff.
Yeah.
it's gotten so weird that at this point, today, if it happened, I don't think most people would freak out. They'd be like, "Yep, feels right."
Yeah.
It was it was a lukewarm reaction when they released it. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Navy admits that there are things flying around that they can't catch and they don't know what they are." Everybody's like,
It's like, okay.
I've seen that.
We talked to Tom Whitmore about that.
From MUFON, yeah.
Oh, cool.
He had an interesting take on it, though, I thought, which was he pretty much said, okay, you have to look at this, though, as decompartmentalize it. He was like, the Navy is the Department of the Navy is the only military wing that's coming out and saying this, saying, we don't know what they are. We need your help. Let us know what you think. But he was like, you have to keep in mind, like the Air Force, the Marines, nobody else has taken this stance.
Mm-hmm.
Just them.
Yep.
And so, he doesn't know what to attribute that to. Not as much, part of what he studies, but he was like, it's just a good possibility that maybe a lot of that old guard is dead and gone. And, a lot of the worries about a Cold War and shit like that just aren't as prevalent, and they could be just stumped, literally.
Yeah.
And being honest, I don't know.
I think they know way more than they're letting on. It's becoming so prevalent in our society that the acceptance of it is so far and wide. They have to recognize it in some fashion, or they're going to look like fools.
Yeah, that's what I used to say about those Bratz dolls, man.
Right.
My daughter brought those home when I was a kid. Had the great big eyes and shit.
Yeah,
I was like, see, they're preparing us, for seeing. They're preparing the children for seeing alien hybrids.
Oh, you're not even kidding.
So they won't be as shocked. Yeah.
Right. I mean, think about all the desensitization that's gone through from Hollywood and TV shows and movies. And
yeah, that may have been just a test too, to see how people would respond. And like I said, the response was pretty lukewarm. So okay, yeah, we're further along than we thought.
Yeah.
We're
nobody batted an eye.
Step up the timetable.
Mm-hmm.
There was no riots. There was no upset people in the street. There was nothing going on.
Yeah, it's like the biggest story in human history, and everybody's like,
Have you seen this apocalypse that's going on at the same time? I think they call it a pandemic. Aliens, what's that?
Yeah.
That's kind of how they treated it, which I thought was weird. I flipped out. We're like a few weeks into the whole release of all the alien information or UFO information they were supposed to release, and it's all out there, man. It's not hard to find it.
Yeah. Did you read all the documents and everything?
No, I haven't had time to really sit with it. I've been so busy, but I get bits and pieces of it. And this is stuff that I've studied religiously for decades.
Mm-hmm.
It's how this whole band thing came about.
Yeah.
The whole art project. It's not just a band. We're doing comic books and mini movies and all kinds of crap in the near future. So it's a multimedia brand.
Well, shit. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So what's with the comic? Who's working on that, and what's the kind of concept there?
The comic book is being written by me. The art is being done by a guy named Rick Lara.
Okay.
Rick is he's pretty famous in the horror art scene, and he's one of the 2 or 3 people that started the Days of the Dead conventions that are huge.
Okay.
Horror conventions all across the East Coast. He started that.
Yeah.
And he's a very well-known artist, and he's doing the art for us. And basically the comic book is about a rock and roll band who get invited to do a big giant world stage show in front of the pyramids on the Giza Plateau.
Right on.
And their sonic resonance is so intense that it inadvertently activates dormant technology in the pyramids from ancient times that send a signal to the moon and reestablish a communications link between Earth and the moon. And it turns out that there is an evil alien on the moon, and he uses the transportation device inside the pyramids to kidnap the band.
Right on.
And he forces them to become court minstrels, entertainers in the court of the Empire of the Moon.
Okay.
And the story is about how this rock and roll band deals with that and then goes on to become superheroes.
Oh, nice.
In effort to save the universe.
As you do.
Imbued by special moon magic.
Yes.
And a bunch of crap you're going to have to buy the comic book to find out about.
All right. Yeah, don't give too much away. I don't want to hear the ending.
The comic book and the songs and everything having to do with the costumes. I'm a nerd. I make everybody wear cosplay Space Commando costumes.
No, they're cool as shit though, with all the LED lights and stuff.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
Looks like everybody walked off the set of a movie. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much long and short of it. It's an entire art project dealing with that idea.
Huh.
So is this all going to be like assembled as a package deal then?
That's it. All in the work.
Yeah.
We're going to like piecemeal some releases out this summer and winter. And then the idea is to get a couple of issues of comics out.
Okay.
And a couple of albums out, and then sell it all in graphic novel and box set form.
So kind of a series.
Yeah.
Just going to carry on. It doesn't just resolve itself.
Right.
Got it.
Eventually, the idea is that we would stop marketing this like a rock and roll band and start presenting it like a theatrical troupe.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
And play theatrical engagements at theaters and not concerts at rock and roll halls. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of like Marvel on Ice, but for stoner adults.
Nice.
Right on. So does everybody else in the band go along with the sci-fi and horror bit of it, or is it just you guys like dragging everybody along?
Kind of funny how that all worked out.
Yeah.
So originally, I had assembled this group of people that I had known for over 20 years, and we started doing something else musically. And the whole thing kind of evolved into more of a doom metal project. Stoner doom, psychedelic, heavy psych doom stuff.
Right.
And the name we had for that project just didn't fit what we were doing. And I was trying to bring up that issue, like, the name we're using right now doesn't really fit what we sound like, and I think we ought to change it. And everybody was like, we're already doing this. So I kind of tricked them. I went home, came back the next week at rehearsal, and I had like 2 pages of what I told them were album names. And I read off all these names, and they were all crazy, batshit nutty stoner rock names,
Right.
And I got to like the third from the last, which was They Watch Us from the Moon, and everybody in the room kind of lit up. Like, we should call the album They Watch Us from the Moon. And I was like, no, we had to call the band They Watch Us from the Moon.
Watch Us from the Moon, yeah.
Everybody's like, oh my God.
It's a great name.
Finally got on a name. And then I was like, they thought I was kidding at first. But I was like, we ought to dress up in sci-fi costumes and play doom metal. They were like, oh yeah. That'd be hilarious. I'm like, yeah, it would be hilarious.
Let's do it.
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
Wouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Fucking old people on stage rocking out and dorky cosplay, Flash Gordon type shit. And they were like, yeah, that'd be hilarious. And then got close to our first show, and I was like, well, here's your guys' costumes. Whoa.
Wait.
And it's kind of evolved from there. Some of the guys are really into it. Some of them are begrudgingly. Like our singers, they're ladies. They love it. They're like, oh, fancy costumes?
Right.
Yeah. And our drummer, we all love him to death. He's our brother, but he's like, I'm not going to say anything, but you're going to be able to tell I hate it.
So who puts all that together and everything?
Me.
Nice.
I make all the costumes. I get some help. My fiance makes a lot of the what happens is I come up with these crazy designs and I'll say, hey, can you sew these 2 parts together? And she'll sew things together, and then I continue on with the project. So yeah, I get some help, but it's comes out of my crazy maniacal mind.
Nice.
Right on.
I started making Star Wars costumes for my kid when he was little, and it just kind of evolved from there,
Yeah, I'm always the makeup guy in the house for Halloween. That's
right on, man.
My job.
It's fun.
It is fun.
I'm almost 50, and I'm trying to have as much fun as I can before it's too late.
Yep. I just turned 50.
Sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, me too. It happens.
It's coming for us all. Coming for us
Happy
all.
birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday too.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
My birthday's in a couple of weeks.
I remember when he turned 40.
I know.
I dropped off a box of Depends at your house, and
They were just sitting on my front step when I got home that day.
Nice.
I didn't have to see a card or anything to know exactly where the fuck it came
where it came from.
My homie's afraid I'm gonna shit myself. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean 40th.
So I filled them up and left them in John's driveway.
Here you go, fucko. Some kind of joke.
Joke's on you.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was just at 40. Shit.
Yeah, I know.
I had a massive flip out when I was 40.
I didn't like that either.
Yeah.
I've already told everybody in my life now that if I make it to 80, you better stand the fuck back because it's hookers and dope until I die.
I've earned that.
Stand back. Cover your eyes. Hide the children.
Yeah. I lost my 40th year, or my 39th year, rather. I thought I was 40
Yeah.
the whole year.
Good for you.
It's happened to me a couple times in my life. And my wife had to tell me, and well, I'm 41. She's like, no, you're not. You're 40.
Wait, what?
She's like, yeah, you've been 39 all last year. You didn't know that? I did the math. I was like, well, sure enough. You're right.
It's amazing.
But it just goes to show by then I'd given up. I didn't give a shit.
Now, who's the guy that slept in the woods for?
Oh, Rip Van Winkle.
Rip Van Winkle. There you go. Rip Van Winkle a year. Just poof.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've got that beard going on right now. Still debating
Nice.
whether I'm going to chop it off.
That was always funny to me as a kid, when your folks had to think for a second about how old they were.
Yeah.
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 And I'm like, I will know I'm 6 every day that I'm 6, and then as soon as
Right.
and I will know every day that I'm 7, and it's like that just didn't make no sense. And then, shit, I think that happened to me like 2 years ago was the first time, and actually think about it. Wait, fucking, how old am I? God damn it!
Damn it.
Right.
Damn it.
I'm there.
Yeah.
Once you get really halfway, like through your 20s, there's just not a lot of big milestones to get excited about.
No, the milestones.
Right.
You save money on insurance at 25.
My late 20s are a blur.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think I skipped over several years in my 20s.
Yeah. I remember some good times then, though.
I wish I remembered most of the good times, but I made it on the other side of it, so I assumed that they were good.
Right. I forgot more than I remember.
You guys started getting like AARP mail yet? Or
I did.
Matt did. You did, didn't you? Yeah.
It's sad.
fucking congratulations, man.
I know.
You just had to sign up, and what do you get? Like a free cup holder for your car?
No, it was like a trunk organizer.
Oh, nice.
If I sign up, they'll send me, and it's a nice looking trunk organizer. You know,
I
I
bet.
probably.
That would totally freak me out. I'll tell you right now, if anybody from ARP is listening right now and you send me a fucking letter, you're going to get a fucking pipe bomb back in the mail. I promise.
A metaphorical pipe bomb.
Yeah.
Yes, let's clarify that.
Came up to record an incriminating confession.
No, that's getting cut.
Yeah.
I've been making Ben nervous about my political activities for the better part of 20 years.
Right.
It's been a love-hate relationship for a long time.
And the Department of the Navy and
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
all these flags are going off and triggering.
I say some shit in truth tell that I had no business saying. So I get it.
No, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a file.
Yeah.
Who has a file?
Me,
Well, who has the file?
the government, the State Department.
State Department has a file.
So my mom,
Mhm.
I won't say the guy's name, but my mom married a guy about 8 years ago who spent 35 years as a political strategist for the DNC.
Okay.
And John Kerry is one of his best friends.
Mm.
And John Kerry has been trying to get him in the State Department for a decade, and he keeps turning him down. But a few years ago, he had free time, and John Kerry, I was actually at the dinner table when John Kerry called
Mm-hmm.
my mom's husband and said, "Hey, I'm going to send a plane for you. Be on the plane at 5:00 in the morning. I need you to come meet people." And it was his introduction interview to them asking him to go through the process of joining the State Department, CIA.
Huh.
And during the interview process, they brought him in to the White House for a meeting, and the president was there, and all the chiefs, staff, and all this stuff. And he said that there was about 25, 30 files laid out along the middle of this big, long table. All the heads of state were sitting around. And he said one head of state would reach out in the middle of the table and grab a file and open up the file and read files and ask him questions about the person in his life that the file was about. And he had to oh, well, that person is my wife's yada yada, or that person is my son's friend, yada yada. And he told me this was happening, and I'm like, when he got a few days later after it was over, he came back home and he was like, yeah, I had to go do this interview and answer questions from everybody's file. And I'm like, whoa, file? He's like, yeah, they had a file on everybody. I'm like, they had a file on me? And he goes, yours was the biggest file.
Now, are you sure that this is not just like some elaborate story from somebody who wanted to spend a couple days at the casino?
No. I mean, if you remember, back in the Truth Cell days, we referred to ourselves as the metal militia. And a lot of our propaganda was left-leaning militarism. And at that time, and before that, and I went to lots of political activities and rallies and protests and generally caused a lot of trouble in the town I was living anyway, because I was in the punk rock scene when I was a kid and all that stuff. And I got a file.
Nice.
Yeah. So now, I feel pretty
accomplished,
open to do what I want. Like I don't worry about smoking weed or shit like that, because if they're already looking at me, if they were going to do something, they'd have done it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, probably. That's my fear. They're overwhelmed, and they'll get to you eventually.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Better things to deal with than me.
Yeah.
They're going to start looking at the podcast real soon. All right, we had the MUFON dude on. Now we got this guy.
Hi.
He's got a file.
I think we need to check those guys out.
I was kind of proud of it. I was like, no shit. Me? I got a file? He's like, yep. You got a big giant file. I'm like, oh, man.
Walking around a little cocky for a couple days.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, a little spring in the step. I got a file.
My file's bigger than your file. You guys want to measure files? Whip it out.
Whip out your file, man.
I'm all right with it.
Yeah, I can't really sweat those things that much. If they do, they do.
No.
It's not like I don't give out tons of information all the time, and that we all don't,
Yeah.
Everybody's like, don't let the government track you. It's like, Jesus, you're telling me this on social media, on your phone.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Right.
If you got a phone, they know you.
No, fuck yeah. Yeah, people, I'm living off the grid.
I know the same kind of people.
No, you're not. You just don't have Facebook.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Think they don't know everything else?
Take your safety off the grid. You're a schmo living down the street.
Got electricity, you got Wi-Fi. I know you.
I have some old punk rock friends that are absolutely certain, without a shadow of a doubt, that government agents are following them because they were subversive at one time, and now they're fat old men that do nothing. They got a regular job, blue collar, ding dong job, and they're still convinced that the government's watching them.
That they're being followed. Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit who you are.
Yeah, like you say, I don't see how they've got enough time.
You're a fat fuck lives in Baldwin, Kansas. Nobody knows who you are.
Right.
I always thought, with especially like people putting tape over their webcams and shit like that.
Yeah.
They're going to see me. They're going to see you doing what?
Right.
Do what?
Staring at your screen. We're like beating off at worst.
The porn? Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah. They're going to watch me. Watch you doing what? Are you,
Yeah.
Assembling a bunch of, drugs or weapons in front of you or.
Shit. Anyone wanted to spy on me, they just leave depressed.
Right.
Jesus. Spy on me, be like, that guy's into really bizarre shit.
Oh my God. That poor guy.
I know, right? That's what he has to deal with.
He's still in that chair.
That guy's crazy. Poor bastard.
So you guys got any shows coming up or anything?
Well, we've got a lot of stuff we're doing, but we're kind of holding off on shows until the fall.
Okay.
There's a really weird thing happening in our area. Because of COVID, there are not as many venues active as there were.
Right.
And it's just starting to come back around to activity.
Mm-hmm.
But everything is so timid and unsure.
Yeah.
It's causing a lot of rift within the Kansas City regional music scene.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people that are getting booked shows, and there's a lot more people that are not getting booked shows, and they're all fighting about it.
Is it a popularity contest at this point?
Yeah, I just
haven't heard enough.
Did I mention that I'm old?
Yeah.
Did I go over that part?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be fighting with anybody about dumb shit. So we're gonna hold off till fall, and we're gonna put some things out. We're gonna put out a single here in a month ish, and follow that up with a full length album in the winter.
Right on.
And we're gonna put out comic books, and here in a few months, if you pay attention to our social media, we're gonna start. Well, I'll just drop it here. We're going to come out with our own strain of cannabis.
Oh, all right.
Breaking news. Right on.
Yeah.
Who's working with that, or who's the grower, or whatever you're working with?
The geneticist?
Yes, the geneticist.
He has not cleared me to release his name as of yet.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was like a company I might be familiar with.
The company's in transition, and he's in transition.
Oh, okay.
And he has asked me not to reveal any of that quite yet.
Right. So when he arrives from the moon.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's a new deal. It's, you're kind of starting from the ground up then.
Moonweed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But in lieu of that, we just released a 2-song live video performance that came out on the Swamp Records summer concert series.
Yes.
And we did the first round of that. And if you go to our Facebook or Twitter, that's the only 2 platforms it's on right now.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's on YouTube as well.
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
3 platforms. You can check that out and see what we have going on. And we're going to probably do another round of that in a month or so, and kind of gear up towards the live show or playing live shows October, November, that kind of thing.
Right on. Yeah, I think if you could avoid the mad scramble at first, it's probably going to be better.
Yeah.
Like I said, I already got people mad at me
right,
for being a nerd.
Right.
We were fortunate enough because we're a touch base on the old people part again.
Mm-hmm.
We got to skip a lot of steps because we've all been doing this for a long time in this area.
Right.
And that upset some people as well. So I'm just kind of hanging back and letting the chips fall and the dust settle. And
yeah,
when they're all done with their bullshit, we'll step over the bodies and do our thing.
Right.
Yeah. And there's some bullshit event going on in a couple of weeks in Lawrence, some record release or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Those guys at the top.
Hey, I'm going to say something here because Ben is a very humble guy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys aren't aware, and the general listening public that you've collected is not aware, Ben has been a powerhouse in this region's music scene for decades. And his current project, Godzillionaire, that's getting the most attention. He's in several. They Watched from the Moon, Godzillionaire and Vedettes. Also great.
We love them all.
We love them all. Yep.
But you really, whoever's listening, if you haven't listened to Godzillionaire yet, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Absolutely.
John and I had a conversation about this just the other night because we fucking pimp Godzillionaire all the time. And both of us kind of came to the same conclusion that we know when somebody hasn't actually listened to us or listened to it because they don't get back to us immediately and say, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Right? No, you didn't listen.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you say that, I know you listened.
Yep. That's absolutely true. Yeah. Everybody who did give it a shot was like, wow, it's fucking amazeballs.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I mean, this has been a busy studio week. Wednesday and Thursday, Godzillionaire was back at Massive with Paul Malinowski recording.
Nice.
Well, we had a plan to go in and do one song, and we ended up walking out of there with 2 mixes and another one that was about halfway done.
Huh.
So it was a really productive couple of days.
Yeah.
And then had Friday off, and then today and tomorrow, They Watch Us from the Moon is recording at Red Cat Studios down south of Wichita.
Nice.
So, this is probably, other than like the first initial week to record the basic tracks for Negative Balance,
mm-hmm.
this is probably the most studio time I've had in in a very long time.
Yeah.
So any week that I get to be in a studio recording and hanging out with the band and doing stuff like that is always a good week. But and we came up with some really, really good stuff. And Godzillionaire and the stuff we've done for They Watch Us for the Moon sounds great already too. So having a good time this week.
Hell yeah!
I was at that part of that Godzillionaire session too, and what they're doing over there is amazing. It'll floor you. It's fantastic.
I'm a believer. I got promises that it was going to be really amazing for the last record, and it was really fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Well, appreciette that. I mean, it's really, working with Paul, I really got to know him first when Vedettes recorded the EP with him. And I went into that knowing that, in another month or two, we'd be doing the Godzillionaire album. And, you go, Paul Malinowski, obviously, legend in Kansas City and nationally and worldwide. How many people, just absolutely idolize, Shiner, rightly.
Right.
And everything that he's done for the Kansas City music scene, just running that studio and, bringing people in and just making them sound amazing.
Yeah.
So this was one of the first times actually getting to see Paul since, it was like, prior to that, I'd only seen him before the pandemic.
Oh.
So it was kind of a reunion too, which was really cool because it was like, made this great thing together, right before the pandemic hit.
Right.
And then, go 16 months without seeing each other and then walk in and knock out a couple of bangers in the same day. It was just, it was kind of overwhelming. Overall,
right.
The energy was amazing. It was awesome.
I'm actually going to force Ben to brag on his band for a second. What's the name of the magazine in Europe?
There were a few.
You're number 14 in just say it.
Was it New Noise?
New Noise.
There was Guitar Part magazine did something on us at one point. And
New Noise magazine, which is like the equivalent of Rolling Stone in Europe.
Yeah.
Voted Godzillionaire.
What, number 14?
Number 14. What?
Album of 2020.
Nice.
That's incredible.
I'm not sure if it was rock or what.
Yeah.
Like a rock list or what it was.
That's massive.
That's really good.
New Noise magazine, which is like literally a huge publication.
Yeah.
I was blown away. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I don't know. I guess my thing is, since I was a kid, one of my favorite things to do is celebrate local artists and musicians.
Oh, yeah.
That are launching themselves out of this area.
Yeah.
Also just celebrating your friends' victories in general.
Yeah. Celebrating your friends' victories, man. There's so many bands that, something good happens for your band and next guy over to you, be like, yeah, congratulations. What he really wants to do is punch you in the throat.
Right.
And I hate that, man.
Well, there's like good nature, competitiveness, and then there's just
Nah.
And man,
it feels good to feel good for people.
Right.
Yes.
It does. Yeah.
There's this philosophy of we're all in it together. It's a scene. You can't launch a band out of a basement.
Right.
You have to launch a band out of a scene.
Right.
And once you establish the act or acts that the scene is going to push, then you all go up together. Everybody.
Right.
Not just the one band, not just the fan, but all the fans, all the bands. And I think that's a thing that kids today have a hard time figuring out, that you're an individual within a collective, and the power of that is forgotten on the current generation. And I know that because we don't rally for things like youth culture has in the past.
Right.
They sit at home, watch YouTube videos, and say that they did it.
Right.
That's not doing it.
Well, I think too, a lot of the scenes or just music scenes are getting scattered when it comes to the internet, but the internet's also great for distribution.
It is.
It's a double-edged sword.
It is.
I do think though that there are there's towns and cities who are taking that on. I mean, Matt and I were just green rooming earlier talking about Saddle Creek Records out of Omaha and Bright Eyes and The Faint and some of those other bands, they're all in that record. But I mean, like them, Nashville, the local music scene, not just country music, but pop and punk and stuff is really taking off there, and it's because of that kind of support.
Yeah,
that they're finally breaking that down and losing some of the ego. And what's good for one is good for all. I think if it brings people in,
it needs to catch on.
Yeah,
I lived in the Nashville area for a few years, about 5 years ago. Yeah, it's just not country there, man. It's everything you can imagine is in Nashville, and they all go to They all go.
Yeah.
There is no like, no, that's the death metal scene. We don't do that.
Yeah.
Or that's the indie scene. We don't do that. Same fucking kids. They all go. They all support. You know, their brothers, friends, cousins, so-and-so's in one band, and the other brother, cousin, so-and-so is in a different kind of band, and they all go, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's cool, and sometimes that's just that's not the case with Nashville, but like when we lived in Springfield, Missouri, it was because the town was small enough that we did a lot of that. We went to bluegrass shows, then go to a metal show next week, then a thrash show, then a hip-hop show.
Yeah.
Just got to say a show.
Yeah, just because that's who was playing.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the vibe I got in Nashville. It just wasn't a punk scene or a metal scene or a country scene.
Mm-hmm.
It was everybody's scene. They all went.
Yeah.
There wasn't a division at all. And I think in this area, the Kansas City scene, and I'm talking like the Tri-Cities, Kansas City, Lawrence, Topeka.
Right.
I don't know too much about what's going on in Wichita, but I mean, things are going on in Wichita.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all divisive, man. For example, there is a band in Kansas City called Hyborian. They're huge.
Mm-hmm.
They tour the country, put out records, yada, yada, yada. And just this example of two bands. Another band in Kansas City called Dreams in Peril.
Okay.
Also a metal band. Dreams in Peril is more of a thrash, death metal thing.
Yeah, I've heard a few of their tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Hyborian is more of a stoner metal, stoner doom metal thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just about the same level of band, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two bands don't know each other. There's not one person in either band that knows anybody from the other band.
That knows the other guy.
They live fucking down the street from each other. You're doing the same. I bet you have the same fucking guitars.
Is Kansas City big enough for that, though, that you might not know somebody?
Hell no.
Yeah.
Kansas City's not even 1 million fucking people.
Proximity. I mean, it's spread out.
They play at the same fucking clubs.
Right. The club-wise, there's only so many.
And you don't know each other?
Yeah, you would think, especially playing the same genre. But yeah, I think people are really disconnected. I don't know, though. I think we can get back to it. Like you say, man, blush if you can get around the rabble of starting back up, because the motor's been falling apart this whole time we've been in lockdown.
Yeah.
You know, if you can skip that part and slide in there, once all the bullshit's wrapped up, we're still looking forward to live shows. Everybody is.
Yeah.
Everybody's chomping at the bit.
For sure.
I guess one of the big problems, they're trying to figure out what to do with that market, because there's still fears of, COVID and shit.
Yep.
But then there's everybody really wants to go to a show. I do.
Yep. I'm ready.
Get a vaccine, damn it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's that easy. It really is.
I don't understand why that's such a hard thing for people to get over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, that's where they give you the chip.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
I saw a fantastic meme about the middle of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little kid and his grandmother. And the little kid pointed up to the grandmother's arm and said, "What's that scar in your arm?" And the grandma said, "That's a polio vaccine scar." And the kid goes, "Never heard of it." And the grandma says, "That's because it worked."
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I saw one similar. Why don't I have one? Because I got one for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good point, man. It's for everybody else.
I don't understand.
I mean, that's exactly why the troubles are happening with the Delta variant, like in southwestern Missouri right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's a very low percentage of people are vaccinated there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's our stomping grounds.
Yep.
I mean, very well could be, where I grew up too. There's no difference.
Right.
On that side of the Kansas Missouri border where I grew up, there's no difference in attitudes about that.
No.
Because somebody's drinking the wrong Kool-Aid is the problem.
Yeah.
It's orange Kool-Aid, by the way.
My Kool-Aid doesn't taste like a cyanide at all.
But yeah, that's what they told John Hasty. We were talking to him from Nonagon, said that, if you really, and he lives up in Chicago, and it was, you really want to get vaccinated, go to the reddest part of the state you can find.
Mm-hmm.
Walk in just about any Walgreens and you'll get one.
Immediately.
That's what he did. I think he went down to like Quincy, Illinois, and got a shot there.
Yeah.
Kind of a pain in the ass to have to make that trip, but he got it pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well,
we're testing the waters out on Monday. Speaking of Omaha, that's where I'm going, heading up that way.
Nice.
We're all vaxxed up.
Yay.
Good. What are you going up there for?
A couple of things, man. I guess they got a huge zoo there that's really awesome, from what I hear.
They do.
And that's what we're gonna do is like the main course. The rest of the time we're just going to wing it. But speaking of horror, I'm going to go to this place, the Museum of Shadows. I don't know if you've heard about it.
No.
They've been on the Travel Channel and shit. They supposedly have like 1,000 haunted artifacts from all over the country, and the building supposedly haunted, shit like that. So
whoa,
we're going to see that. We're going to stop at the Glore Psychiatric Museum.
Nice.
On the way up.
Yeah, I heard of that.
That's in St. Joe.
Yeah.
In St. Joe, yeah.
That's where they've got like all the old psychiatric torture devices. Back when this place was Insane Asylum number 2. Yeah, so I guess we're visiting creepy museums and
supposedly still haunted from what I understand too, right?
St. Joe.
The psychiatric, yeah, like the museum there, like that's the Portland Hospital.
Yeah, but they've got some weird shit. Like a guy there, I guess, swallowed like 500 nails or whatever, and they have all the nails on display.
Oh,
huh.
Just a bunch of creepy shit, like things they would do for therapies, that would equivalent to torture these days.
Mm-hmm.
So all the history of that fun stuff, which my kids are fascinated with now. So we're going to do creepy museums in a zoo. But it is kind of weird to feel like, getting out amongst all those people.
Yep.
We're keeping it somewhere closer to home, not as far.
I feel you.
Yeah, for sure.
Omaha's a fun town, though.
I've never been there. That's another reason we're going.
Yeah.
Played a lot of rock and roll there over the years.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to play in Lincoln and Omaha quite a bit.
Huh.
Always had a good time there. I've heard that zoo is awesome, though, too.
Yeah, I've heard good things too.
Yeah. It's kind of like an aquarium link to it and shit.
Oh, wow.
It looks awesome.
I might go with you.
Yeah. Come on, man. I'll pick you up. We're going through Kansas City anyway.
Your kids will love me.
Yeah, Kelly won't care. Show the
I'm
back.
like a big teddy bear, plays catch. I've always got weed on me.
Right?
Wow, yeah.
I guess it's still like totally illegal in Nebraska.
That's medical.
Yeah. No, I don't think they even have that yet. But it's decriminalized to the point that, like, if you get a first-time offense or whatever, it's like a $300 fine,
Oh.
and they can't take your license or anything. So
I'm used to Lawrence, man, because it's like it's decriminalized in Lawrence. You can have up to an ounce, and it's $1 only.
Wow.
yeah, that's what it was here in Columbia for a long time.
Yeah.
Since 2003, you just decrimmed down to nothing, unless a highway patrolman actually came into town or something. It would take a lot.
Those guys always got good weed. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
Escort Trooper Dan.
Well,
that's right. Officer friendly.
dispensaries all over town now here, though. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like the place I used to go get a sandwich.
It's not a bad thing.
No, not at all. Planes haven't fallen out of the sky. I haven't seen any problems.
No.
Just more revenue.
All the shit that they said was going to happen never happened.
That's what I don't get. There's states that still don't have any decriminalization at all. It's like, look, we've had the experiment with California. I mean, if anybody could fuck that up, it'd be somebody in Los Angeles. It would be. So
Yeah.
They haven't fucked it up yet. Everything's fine.
Right.
What's the problem?
Well, and as they see more and more of those dollars roll to other states,
Mm-hmm.
that right now they're going, I could make a little bit of that. I need my cut.
Yeah.
I've said that too. I think what would finally flip Kansas is when they see how much money Missouri is going to make, because Missouri and Kansas have had a rivalry and a hatred since the 1800s.
Yep.
Because of the Civil War and the border wars.
Yeah.
And I think it would burn every Kansan's ass to know that Missourians have more money.
Right.
And as soon as they report how much money they're making off of medical cannabis, Kansas is going to be like, we're doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't have much hope for Kansas until they actually reform.
I don't know. Well, you've got a better governor for it than we do.
Yeah, true.
Ours is awful.
You might, we might be looking at the MORE Act getting passed through federally, though. Anyway, of course, a state could still keep a law. Shit. I think the MORE Act's going up for a vote. I know it did, surprisingly. That's just federal full decriminalization, letting people out of prison who were in there for marijuana offenses. Yeah, Kamala Harris signed that bill, or co-signed that bill. Kamala did.
Yeah. Wow.
We got a shot at that. And I don't know what they do if federally it was legal. I don't know. Would some states hold out?
Some might.
Kansas liquor laws are so backwards still, like after, decades and decades and decades of, people protesting about it. They've only just recently made it possible where you can buy anything in a store, like a grocery store or a convenience store that's above 3.2.
Oh, yeah. I still had 3.2 beer. Huh.
That's only recently, but our buddy Ravi runs a convenience store down the corner. He's trying to convert his gas station because he had to have the gas station on one side and then a separate door where you go in the liquor store to go buy it there. And so you have to, walk in like a dope. It's like an open floor plan. You can see both sides of it, but you have to walk out the one, walk into the other to get the other bag. Stupid.
Right.
So he's eventually, taking advantage of the new laws. Okay, it's all going to be one store now because I can now, legally sell, full, liquor here. But he's got a gas station pump out front, and they're telling him that has to be credit card only in order for him to sell liquor inside the store. He cannot be accepting cash or gas because he's selling liquor. And so it's okay. So someone could go out there, use their credit card to pay for the gas, and then walk in with cash and buy liquor, and that's fine. But if they were to do it all with cash, that even though it's at the same store, that would be wrong.
That's crazy.
It's okay, well, clearly the logic's right there.
What the fuck?
That's insane.
It is, and those are Kansas liquor laws, and that's why I have no real hope that Kansas will legalize cannabis anytime soon.
Well,
yeah, there's still dry counties in Arkansas.
Yep,
they did legalize it though.
I lived in Utah for a year a few years ago.
Yeah,
and their liquor laws are crazy too. If you're in a family restaurant in which children could be eating, they have to build a wall around the bar so kids can't see the bar.
Can't see you. Huh? This is like Salt Lake City, or
all of you. If you want to order a pitcher, you have to bring 2 or 3 people from the party up to the bar to tell the bartender we're all drinking out of this pitcher. They won't sell a pitcher of beer to one person.
Weird.
You can't order a cocktail from your waitress until the drink you have on your table is already empty.
Weird.
Which is really stupid because people are just going to chug their amaretto sour.
Yeah.
Right. That's just asking them to go the other way.
Right.
Oh, shit.
Stupid.
Yeah. Our service is taking forever,
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, that's weird.
Mormons are funny.
They are.
State-run liquor stores, Magic Underwear, their vaccine numbers are super low because of the Magic Underwear.
Oh, yeah. I bet those are helping.
They call them garments. And the garments...
Yeah, they're garments.
The garments protect you from bullets, stab wounds, dirty thoughts, ropers, and viruses. So it protects you from viruses as well.
All equally dangerous.
Got it.
Yes.
I'm going to go buy it.
Sounds like something to invest in now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Better safe than sorry.
They're made out of burlap. That sounds awesome, doesn't it?
Burlap underwear. Ooh.
Oh, my God.
That does sound magic. That's magical. For sure.
Would the hot chick in front of you sound so appealing if you knew she had on burlap panties?
Burlap underwear. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really weirding me out there, man. It's a weird place. Family home evening. You ever heard of that?
Of what?
Family home evening. The entire state shuts down on Monday at 6 o'clock. Everybody goes to grandma's house for dinner.
Oh, weird.
I shit you not.
Like stores, or like you can't get gas or anything? Or...
Everything. Well, gas stations would be open because people from foreign countries run them.
Yeah.
Or that are not Mormons,
I see.
Which is good. But any Mormon-run business shuts down at 6 o'clock on Monday.
Weird. Till when? Or is it just for the rest of the day?
The rest of the night.
Wow. No, yeah, that wouldn't work.
My ex-wife at the time, they're Jack Mormons. They were not practicing Mormons, but they're from Mormon families.
Right.
They still did it. Yeah.
And game night or whatever.
Oh, yeah. You order Chinese food because they're not Mormon.
Right.
And play games. I hated every fucking minute of it.
Wow.
I was going to say, how long did you live there and why?
A year, and I could not wait to get away from it.
What were you year worth of Monday nights?
Well, I say that. There's a lot of cool things happening in Utah, music-wise.
Oh, yeah?
I really didn't want to leave. It had to be done, but there's a lot of cool things going on in Utah because the tighter the constraints on society, the freakier the freaks are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep, I bet they're real freaky then.
Yeah. Here's a band for your listenership: Arsenic Addiction.
All right.
I'll look them up.
Oh God, their lead singer is this woman, Haley Grow is her name, and she is a powerhouse, man. Incredible.
Well, check it out.
Aside from Utah, what else is turning you on lately? As far as tunes go, bands go.
Oh boy, Lingua Ignota. You heard of them?
No,
Not familiar.
Yeah, I think it's like Unknown Tongue is the translation on that. But they have a song called, I believe it's called "How Dare You Doubt Me, Traitor." I believe is the name of it.
Mm.
And it's a song I just heard on KJHK, local Lawrence University run station.
Okay.
And I think it's maybe on like one of those just one of their metal nights or something like that. And it started off, I just thought it was a little bit kind of melodramatic, a little bit like, oh God, someone's crying. And as it goes and it goes and it goes, it gets more insane and more. It's one of the kind of just purest expressions of freak out I've ever heard in my life.
Right on.
It's one of those, the first minute or two of it, you're gonna be like, what's going on here? But just kind of hang with it, and it pays off.
All right, I'll check that out.
What's it called?
I believe it's "How Dare You Doubt Me, Traitor."
How dare you doubt me, traitor?
Lingua Ignota, I believe, is the name of the band.
Oh, cool. Never heard of them.
Yeah, it was a chance find.
Nice.
Wow.
Play it right after the kids go to sleep, like really loud.
That's a great idea.
I'll do that.
Speaking of that,
Sounds like a trap.
well, we don't want to keep you guys all night. Speaking of that, I know you've got recording and stuff that you need to do.
Yeah.
So I don't want to drain you too much.
Yeah, I probably ought to get to sleep within the next hour or two in order to wake up and do it again.
Yep.
Function. Well,
I got to go make sure my kid's in bed. I think my wife's already turned in.
Yeah, she called me. She said she fell asleep a little while ago.
get that fucking goat out of here.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's been hanging out with Mark.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to, when you're getting offers to suck it every 15 minutes, it's hard not to think about it.
Yeah, the goat.
The goat.
Oh my God. Well, on that note, gentlemen.
Yeah. Night. Suck it.
You've been listening to Suck It, the podcast.
No, thanks for coming on, guys. I had a really good time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your attention.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to what we're going to catch out of you here in the near future and everything else. People go check out They Watch Us from the Moon.
Awesome.
Yes.
Godzillionaire.
Vedettes.
Vedettes. Can't believe we forgot Vedettes. And thanks for listening.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. Really nice talking to you guys again.
Thank you.
All right, man.
All right. Have a good night.
Later, Tater.